What's going on, guys? So we are back here at the Toyota Tundra event, and in front of us is the current generation Toyota Tundra. This is a four-wheel drive truck. Looks like, yeah, this is a 1794 package. And the reason why they have this here, and I learned this because of my buddy Wes now, he explained that they wanted to show you the difference, really, between what it's like towing with the current generation versus a new one. Now, you may see some battle damage on this RV because this is actually a rental unit. They had to find a rental unit to get over here. So this isn't a brand new unit, and somebody driving this truck didn't hit the front of it. So don't worry about that. The thing that we want to focus in on is how this truck is set up and the configuration it is set up with to demonstrate what you're trying to show here, right? Absolutely. The difference. So Wes, kind of walk us through. We went and looked at the sticker, which was kind of hard to read on it, but it looks like we have 2,600 pounds worth of cargo capacity. But do you recall what the dry weight and the GVWR was?
So unfortunately, being a rental with a little bit of battle damage, some of the sticker has been removed, but when we did the calculation, and I think when they actually called Gulfstream, the actual dry weight of this trailer was right around 5,300 pounds.
Okay, so my recommendation for half-ton trucks is generally 6,000 pound GVWR. You have some flexibility on each side of that according to how your truck is set up and your towing knowledge and experience, but you know, keep it under 7,000 pounds roughly. You're probably going to be right around there with how the typical camper would load this thing up.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about how we got this one set up, if you don't mind.
Okay, so for this particular day, what we're doing is bringing some press people through. People have a little bit of experience and have sort of a sense of what trucks feel like going down the road. What we have here is a current 2021 Toyota Tundra with conventional leaf springs. That's what trucks have been configured like duty trucks for the last 60 years. People are used to how they drive, and as you talk about, as the trailer weight goes up, especially the tongue weight, as you try to move that weight forward on the truck, this trailer has been set up with weight distribution bars. So as you go over a road that's undulating, the tongue of the trailer drops. It twists these, what are in essence torsion bars. As they twist, it tries to keep the back of the truck up, and it tries to keep weight on the nose. Again, a very common mistake with amateur RVers is the tongue weight is too high. They've loaded too much gear in it. They've got too much gear, their personal gear, in the bed of the truck, and they've got a V.
Yep.
What this weight distribution bar tries to do is straighten that V up so the truck and trailer are level. Under braking scenarios or crosswind, you want the truck weighted as close as you can get it to the factory settings. You don't want to have too much weight in the back. So for a truck, a conventional truck that's been made over the last 10 or 15 years, having weight distribution bars as your trailer gets to be a little bit bigger, and remember this is a 26-foot tandem trailer, we would recommend these kinds of bars to make it a lot more stable. And
even maybe some type of a sway mitigation hitch.
And the hitch itself is designed set up for that, so that if you get caught in a crosswind, it actually can stop that sway of the trailer. The last thing you want to do is have a tail wag the dog. And quite often when we look at accidents, a dog or a deer runs out in front of an amateur RVer. The accident doesn't usually happen at the deer. It happens a couple hundred feet past because they react quickly with the steering wheel, and then they start the tail wagging and they lose control actually beyond the deer. So having an additional sway controller, which is just some sort of resistance here, minimizes that motion.
And what I try to tell people, it's basically stopping the hinging. It puts friction to stop the hinge effect between the truck and trailer. That's essentially what it is.
And that's really a good way to do it, to describe it. So these bars try to stop the hinge effect of the up and down. The sway controller tries to stop the effect of the side to side. In driving this, you still get a sense of the motion that a conventional leaf spring truck has as that trailer's moving around back there. One of the beautiful things about the modern trucks, like the Tundra that you're going to drive, is with that air ride suspension, the up and down motion is minimized if you have the air ride suspension because it auto levels all the time. So in the trailer that you're going to drive on the new Tundra, we've actually taken off the load distribution bars, and even with those missing, that truck will have less motion because the air ride suspension does such a good job controlling the body.
Very good. So, and real quick, just to show people how this kind of works, because you see these setups and you always hear you need it, but in essence, what you're doing is you're creating an arching effect between the truck and the trailer. Basically what happens is This bar right here is a spring bar. It's under tension. The tension is applied right here. As you pull the chains up and in place, it's putting downward force on the frame section right here. So what it's doing is it's moving weight towards the back of the trailer and towards the front of the truck. And that's the distribution that you're getting. So the more tension you put on the chains up here, the more it's going to want to raise this section right here up. And it's actually going to put more and more stress on the ball under here as well. So you're essentially creating that bow effect to where the weight's now transferring to the front of the truck and some of it's transferring to the back of the trailer.
And this particular setup is somewhat naked here. When you go look at a brand new RV, they're beautiful. They've got some sort of cover over the tanks. They've got, you know, covers over the battery. We wanted to expose this so that everybody could see exactly what is normally on the front of the trailer, because when you first look at a trailer, if it doesn't have tanks, the front of the trailer seems relatively light. As soon as you start putting all this stuff in, and we see people all the time stacking their lawn chairs and other things in the front, all of that starts making the back of your truck settle.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to take this thing out for a spin. We're going to see how it feels so I can instantly hop out of this one into one of the newer trucks. And we're going to start with the coil sprung suspension when we get in the newer truck and then move to the air ride suspension after that one. Wes?
Terrific.
I appreciate it.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we are taking off hauling the Gulfstream in the 2021 Tundra. Alright. Going around the land yacht Airstream that will be towed by the 2022. And it's a quick loop, so we're just going to test it out, see how things go. So he told me to get out and take every left light I can. We got a bit of a crosswind. And again, this trailer's at 5,200 pounds dry right now. They don't have it loaded down, so this kind of falls right into that really good weight zone I recommend for half-ton towing. There's no sway control on this hitch. It is a weight distribution, and it's kind of a low-end, you know, chain-operated weight distribution hitch, and there are some higher-end chain-operated systems like the Blue Ox, but this is just that standard system. They intentionally didn't put the sway control hitch on it because they wanted me to feel just how things kind of react a little bit. The wind has actually died down. I was hoping we'd get a bit more of a crosswind so I could kind of play with it a little bit more. Once this light changes, we'll see how this goes. Definitely has no problem towing it for sure. Plenty of strength there. But when you hit some bumps, you can feel the springiness. And this is pretty common with traditional weight distribution setups because you're typically using some type of a spring bar on the back. So whenever you get a bump, some folks will call it a porpoising feel, where it essentially feels as if the back of your truck is kind of being pressed on by something really heavy, which it is, and then springing back because you have the weight distribution system that is putting upwards force. So you have downwards force and upwards force kind of constantly fighting each other. It's not dampened, so you get that interesting kind of up and down spring feel. Again, I do wish it was windy outside so I could get a better experience here. No problem at all towing this trailer. Didn't really expect it. Again, we're about 5,200 pounds, 5,200, and it has a cargo capacity of 2,600 pounds, so it would definitely go over my suggested weight towing capability for a trailer this size if it was fully loaded, but it's not fully loaded and it's completely dry, so we don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, you can definitely feel the weight behind you. The truck handles it relatively well, but as you start to move around a little bit, you can feel how it wants to, in essence, kind of move the truck a little bit. You feel the weight in two ways. One, you feel when it kind of bounces the hitch weight up and down on that weight distribution setup. Then number two, you feel it in the sense of the weight actually kind of pushing on the truck a little bit. As we go up this hill right here, I'll be able to kind of feel what the truck has in terms of power pulling it up. And again, this is the existing V8 engine that they have in this truck, so it's going to be really interesting to feel the difference between this and the new 3.5 liter twin turbo, specifically from a towing perspective, because that's, you know, what my channel's about. It doesn't feel uncomfortable at all. Even with this setup without an actual sway control hitch, you know, right now it feels good, and it feels actually fine. But if I was in a heavy crosswind, that's where things would change dramatically. Or if I had to do a heavy braking maneuver that caused the trailer to start becoming unstable and starting to essentially fishtail in the back. That's where you really get to test your nerves out, and understanding how to stop and control it is also incredibly important. This truck does have a trailer brake controller that's integrated into the truck right below the steering column, and if I were to get into a sway scenario right now, the first thing I'd want to do is let off of the gas, or even apply it so I'm going at a steady speed, and then gradually increase my trailer brakes so the trailer wants to straighten out. Biggest challenge a lot of people run into when they run into a sway scenario is they panic, they hit the brakes, they don't know how to get out of that movement, so they try to slow down or pull over, and it makes it worse because the trailer then is pushing forward on your truck, and it's hard to get it back in line. Applying your trailer brakes is the #1 way to get yourself out of that type of scenario. You know, I think one of the reasons why folks who comment on my channel occasionally and say I have this truck and I tow this trailer and I have absolutely no problem, oftentimes they may do that because the scenario in which they tow, or how they load their trailer, or just their experience in general makes them more confident when towing. And I think almost anybody who hopped into this truck towing this trailer would just feel really confident. The GVWR on this trailer is significantly higher than what I generally recommend for this size of truck. However, the way it's loaded right now, which is dry, it's under what I generally recommend. But I don't ever want to make the assumption that you're not going to load your trailer up, because I have no idea what you're going to put in your truck and in your trailer, and because of that I always err on caution when it comes to my towing advice. Actually, right behind me is the gentleman towing the Airstream land yacht. So again, feels good right now, but you can absolutely feel the effect the trailer has on the truck. It's mild. If anything, it's very, very calm. It's easy to tow. I'm not having any issues at all right now, and I would venture to say anybody else towing with this setup right now in this configuration would feel pretty confident about it. Right now we're probably at about 600 pounds worth of hitch weight on the back of the truck. So, you know, especially with just me in the truck, we're not going over our cargo capacity in any way. You know, you load 3 more people plus 500 pounds worth of gear in the back, it's a whole different story. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and get back. We're going to switch from this truck trailer combination to a coil sprung 2022 Tundra pulling a single axle Airstream. So, and that Airstream is very, very lightweight for the application we're going to be using. So I think we'll be in really good shape. Anyways, guys, I sure hope you enjoyed this video. We're going to go ahead and combine the next two into one video, so you guys get an idea of what towing with the 2022 Tundra is all about. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.